Obviously, a wide receiver, Iowa State lost two excellent ones. And if this is not an Iowa thing, I don't know what is. According to Phil Steele, Iowa State's at 60 and Iowa's nowhere to be found. They're not on the board. Nothing. He's got 76 ranked.
You can laugh at that,
is,
Levi.
Is
but
Reese Vanderzee the guy? Like he the dude?
No, I don't think he's the dude.
Who's the dude?
Well, their best receiver last year was not Reese Vanderzee. Their best receiver last year was Jacob Gill, who's back. And he's a super senior, former Northwestern transfer. So I expect him to be the best option. And then they bring in Sam Phillips from Chattanooga, who was really productive. Again, FCS. We'll see if it works. We see examples of it working and not working at times. So I think those two are your 1 and 2. And then if you want a big X guy, it's going to be probably Vanderzee if he's healthy. Dayton Howard probably would be next. But again, depth, collective depth, I think they're as deep. And maybe I buy into some of the comments from Tim Lester as well. But we did see basically all the guys beneath them. We've seen those guys play in games. Jarrett Bowie. They got this kid from whose name escapes me. Oh, God. KJ Parker. Man, I drawn a blank today. KJ Parker got some time last year. Yeah, they're probably, I'd say 7 or 8 deep at receiver. And what was it, 2 years ago? Or well, not 2 years ago. What was the year that it was 2 years ago when Iowa State beat Iowa 10-3 in Kinnick, right? 10-7 or 10-3.
So that was the Hunter Deckers year, 2022. Yeah,
2022. Okay, but I was going to say that year. I remember Iowa came into that game, and their depth at receiver, I believe, was Arlen Bruce, Keegan Johnson, and then a bunch of walk-ons. So it's like they don't have anybody from walk-on. And I know roster change, but nobody walk-on status that's even sniffing playing time.
So and then you say 7 to 8 deep at wide receiver. Do you mean like 78 guys that they feel like comfortable having on the field type of thing?
Yes,
okay.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know about top end talent. And by the way, Caden Weegen's another guy, return specialist of the year last year nationally.
I will tell you that he's fun to watch as a returner.
He is. And can he transition and actually be a real threat at receiver? I mean, if he's anything close to what he is as a returner, as a pass catcher, then he has to be on the field. And all of a sudden there's another guy you added the depth. So yeah, I think all those guys have a chance to play, Mark.
Moving to the offensive line, the wide receiver category includes
a wide receiver we're giving to Iowa State, I assume.
Sorry, we didn't.
I'll default to Iowa State, but Iowa State's losing a lot. They're losing two major, huge pieces. And I do think Iowa's room is on the rise. I would have to.
I think
history.
that the 60 is actually pretty underrating what Chase Soule and Xavier Townsend are. They're both exceptional players. Iowa State beat out Florida and Miami for Chase Soule, and Xavier Townsend was a big contributor at UCF before transferring up to Iowa State. They're basically from a play style and body type and athleticism perspective, they're basically a 1-to-1 replacement for Higgins and Knoll. Will they be as good as them? We'll have to see. But basically getting another powerful receiver with similar athleticism and skill to Jalen Knoll to immediately replace Jalen, and then Chase Soule, who is virtually the same player as Jaden Higgins, to replace him, feels that's good. They've got some guys. They've got some really, really interesting guys behind him. Brett Eskelson, Dominic Overby, Carson Brown's played a ton. I think people are down on Iowa State's receivers just because they saw 2 day 2 picks go to the NFL, and then they just don't know the guys behind them so much. And I think people are still used to the if Iowa State loses the guy to the NFL, then the guy right behind him's crap type of thing. I think people are still kind of used to that. That's not the case anymore. And I do think that by the time you get into mid season, if you were to re-rank the positions, Iowa State will be in the 30s or 20s or better type.
Are you? I mean, it doesn't sound like you probably know a ton about Iowa's depth at that position, but is there any level of concern in year 2 with a guy who has a history of just creating really good receiver rooms in Tim Lester? Is there any concern from your vantage point as an Iowa State guy?
Concern is probably not the right word. I mean, I will say that I will have more respect for the Iowa offense this year than I have in quite some time. As far as just we have to kind of pay attention to them potentially scoring points. But am I concerned? I don't know if that's the right word, but
well, One guy I failed to mention, Seth Anderson. Hair Trigger brings him up. Yeah, he's another guy who struggled to stay healthy. Transferred in from the FCS a couple of years ago, and now year 2 in the Tim Lester system. Flash last year has good speed. So yeah, I mean we can literally count. I know we kind of do this every year to a sense, but I've never done it to this extent. Bowie, Gill, Anderson, Howard, Vanderzee, and then Sam Phillips, Weegan. That's 7. And then if you want to add KJ Parker, and to me, he's the most unknown of all those guys, so I won't even add him. But that's 7 guys who have all seen either significant playing time or like Weegan. I mean, Weegan's seen significant playing time, but he's obviously excelled at a special teams position. And then Sam Phillips was really good at just a different level. So he's going to come in as a senior and be ready to go right away. So yeah, I'll give it to Iowa State. 3-0 there, Mark.
Well, to be fair to my buddy Phil Steele, in response to what Levi said, it appears from the write-up and the amount of information in this thing is crazy that he is fully aware of Chase Soul in terms of laying out all the games and the starts and 20 yards per catch at East Carolina. So he obviously stretches the